Hey everyone, welcome to another live book discussion on Already Overbooked. Tonight, we will be going over Howling Dark, Book 2 of Sun Eater by Christopher Ruocchio. But first, let me introduce my co-pilot on this wild ride. He's the booktube legend whose shelves grown under the weight of his literary appetite. His reading pace, blistering. His opinions, spicier than a dragon's sneeze. He's got the charm of Han Solo, the rage read energy of the Hulk, and the unfiltered honesty of a toddler in a bookstore. He's a man who doesn't just read books, he stares into their soul. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself for the one, the only, Rowdy.
Hulk smash book. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, Rowdy?
How you doing?
Oh, good, man. Good. I was telling you before we jumped on that I was giggling when I was going through and writing this together. Like, really what made me start laughing was the unfiltered honesty of a toddler in a bookstore. Like, I thought of that and I was like, that's perfect. That's so funny.
Very good. Very good.
And Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch is in the house. How's it going, buddy?
Mark?
You are a legend. You are a legend. I appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate you being here. Oh, man. So funny. All right. So I just found out before we went live that you already jumped to the next book because you couldn't control yourself. You were too giddy, too excited because how amazing this book series was. I'm glad you finally turned to the right side of the Sun Eater appreciation.
Yes. I am a complete, what would be the good word to say? Mega fan potentially now. Book 1, Empire of Silence. I don't want to say it let me down. It's just not my taste, I guess you could say. It was way too, I felt, sporadic, all over the place, skipping back and forth. Not a lot of action, and I'm an action guy. And if there's not a lot of action, I need stuff going on. And nothing good to me was going that I enjoyed enough in book 1. Then we turned the page to Howling Dark, and it's all over, baby. This book is amazing, incredible, all the words you can think of. It's awesome. And spoiler alert, book 3, just as good, if not better.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yes.
I'm glad you're enjoying it because I was passionately into the first one. I thought it was great. I agree, Mark. Yes, knowing it was an introductory book, I wasn't expecting like total chaos. I knew it was going to be a slow burn, but man, I was not expecting Howling Dark to just jump into the deep end and just start giving us madness from the beginning, and then it just like held us all the way through. It was fantastic.
The like I said, Empire is just too slow pace for me, too much all over as well. And then book 2, Howling Dark comes in, and the first 3 chapters, I'm thinking we're in the same boat. But I had seen a couple of people do reviews. I didn't read or watch them, but they were talking at the time on like, this starts off pretty fast. Like if you didn't enjoy Empire of Silence, you get through the first few chapters and it's just boom, here it goes. And doggone chapter 4, right there's where it starts. Chapter 4, and it is awesome from there on.
So Mark isn't here yet, so I get it. But if you got to jump off, and definitely come back and watch this after you get through with book 2, and then we're thinking about doing book 3 next month. So if you can catch up, man, we'll enjoy you having on here and yapping with us about your thoughts. So I'm curious, what was your initial thought after finishing Howling Dark? Obviously you enjoyed it and you really liked it because you jumped into the next book, but I wanted to, what were you feeling? Do you recall what your your vibes were once you finished it?
Super hyped, to say the least. I do have a few notes, but just an overall that I don't want to talk any spoilers yet because I know we're not getting there. But the stuff that happens close to the end with Hadrian and Prince, oh geez, what's his name? Arenata. I think it's Arenata. Holy smokes. That was wild. And then what happens after that is it's some awesome stuff.
Oh, we're 100% going to talk about it because I need to discuss it. Yeah, I felt when I closed the book, I honestly felt wrecked, like emotionally wrecked.
Yeah.
I was in so much awe. This book felt heavier. It was more philosophical, and I really liked how it was more cosmic feeling than Empire Silence. Empire Silence, even though we did go to multiple planets, it still felt like smaller than this one. This one just like blew up. It's like we're going through this world.
Yeah. It seems like they talk a whole lot more in this too about how, like, I think it's book 2 and not book 3 because I know they both do, but book 2 talks a lot about how big these ships are. Like if you pay attention to that, one of them's like they're talking like 5 miles long for a ship, and I'm like, what the heck? It's like these things are just way bigger. And I want to think, is it this one that they talk about the Cielson ships like 100 miles long, and it's like it's so big. And they're talking like at one part I think they're getting chased by one or something, or they're on a planet or something, and they're like 1,000 miles away or whatever, and it's literally like they're just right there. It's so wild on just the scope of how much bigger this, and you're right, how much bigger this book feels than Empire of Silence, even though they don't go to a whole bunch of different places in this book. They're stuck in one for a long time. But in book 1, it's like he's like all over the place. But
it still smelled.
It's just small. Yeah.
It felt smaller in there. This one definitely felt more epic. Like just more epicness was going on within this story, and it was just like it got crazy. There was a few scenes in here where I'm just like, I had to put the book down. I was like, this is getting crazy. And I was like, let me reread this because I'm like losing it. Definitely at the end part that you mentioned, we're going to talk later on about. When I read that scene, I was like, there was no way I just heard this. So I went back and started. What? I was like, let me jump back a little bit because I'm hearing something. And there's no way this happened. And it was like, no, this actually like this craziness happened in the story. So it was very, very cool. Very cool.
I will just a side note that has nothing to do with any of this. I do really like how he puts, I don't know if you've noticed yet, but it happens in book 2, Howling Dark and Demon in White. His book titles are either wrote in the book or they're chapters in the book of his other books. I've heard Demon in White is in Howling Dark. He does say that. Kingdoms of Death is either in this one or Demon in White. I've heard it. Empire of Silence is a chapter in Demon in White. And Ashes of Man, I want to think might be in there too. But I know I've heard all the others. Every other one is in there. Yeah, it's either a title or it's a sentence. It's part of a sentence in the book. Yeah. Which Howling Dark's, he talks about Howling Dark in Howling Dark.
Yeah, and then I know because what's his last book title? I had it just a second, just disappeared.
You're talking about the newest one that's about to come out?
The newest one coming out, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I can't think of it now.
Oh, Google.
It's like longer than all the others. Okay. It seems like.
Shadow Upon Time.
Shadow Upon Time, yeah.
Okay. That's not the title I had in my head, so I don't know what I was thinking.
That title to me just doesn't fit with the others. And I don't know why. It's just, I guess because all the others are either 2 or 3 words. which I know Shadows Upon Time is 2. It just seems a lot bigger.
Well, because all the books before that, it's of something, in something.
Yeah.
And then 6 is Disquiet God. So it's like that's 2. So yeah, everything does feel shorter, and that does feel a little bit like a longer.
Yeah, maybe it's just bigger words. Maybe that's what it is. It just seems like a much bigger title. I know that's weird, but I don't know.
So, curious, what was your opinion of Hadrian in book 1 compared to now? Do you feel like he's evolving at all between the books?
Oh yeah, he's not near as whiny for one. I mean, he's more. He takes finally like It's like I know he does. He in book 2, same thing. I'm going to kind of reference book 3 as well, but not talk about anything. But he talks about oh my gosh, who was his mentor? What's his name? The old guy that gets. I cannot think of his name. Yeah. Anyways, he brings him up a lot in Howling Dark. Or Gibson. That's Gibson. Gibson. Yeah, he brings up Gibson a lot, and he's always in the back of his mind on how to basically focus himself by his teachings and kind of like a WWGD, what would Gibson do? Type scenarios to me on a lot of things. If he has questions, if he's aggravated, and he even goes and like talks to him in his head and stuff, which I don't know. To me, he's just so much more of a leader in book 2. I don't know. For one, he's a lot older. I mean, there's a huge time jump at the very beginning of the book. It's like 20 something years, 30 something years, something like that. Yeah. And he's only awake for 12 of it, I guess is what he said in it, something like that. I think it's 24 and he's awake for 12, which I've seen someone reference. That is Dune, I think. Like the time skip or something for Dune Messiah or something. I haven't read Dune, so I don't know, but that's what I've heard.
There's a time jump within the first book as well. And then I heard there's also a big time jump between each books as well.
Okay. Well, apparently 12 and 24, or those are like specific what Dune was or something like that, which I know, he takes a lot of reference from Dune. But yeah, he just seems so much older, and he's not old in the book neither. By the end of it he is, but not alive years, because he gets put on ice a few times.
Yeah, I really liked about this book, and you mentioned Gibson, and that I feel like that was his idealism of him going through and having like really what he was in book 1 of like, hey, we can actually make peace, we can actually go through and really understand these people. But I feel like as the book progressed and as more incidents occurred and tragedy happened to him, it started changing him into being that peacemaker, that idealist, to more of who he becomes, or the older version of him who's actually telling the story. So it's like I'm starting to see his progression move to being okay with doing terrible things for the greater good. You can start seeing that starting to break through into the story, which I really do appreciate the slow change of his character as definitely throughout Howling Dark.
Okay. He actually talks about that some in Demon in White. It gets brought up that to himself, and I do like also on Howling Dark on the way that he narrates the book as well. Or, because he's writing, this is a book he's literally writing while he's in prison or whatever he's in, this whole time. It's like he, excuse me, it's, book 1, like I said, all over the place. And it's almost like while he's been in there for so long doing it, he like fixes and gets way more focused in on each section. So it doesn't talk about it much on, how I told you in book 1 when we talked last time, it was, this right here person ended up killing 1,000 people, and it's like, whatever. And it was like,
we'll get to that later.
We'll talk about that later. And it's like, why are we doing that? He don't do that in this book. And he don't do it in the other one either, Demon in White. That does not happen, and it's just so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I mean. It's just so dang good. That's all I can say. Everything just clicked for me, and that might have been part of it too. It's just everything finally just snapped into place as well for me. I might go back and read Empire of Silence again once I finish this series and see if I can fix myself on, okay, now I understand more about it, because everything else is amazing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It definitely feels in this one, if all this was done on purpose, like just say Ruocchio did this on purpose, wrote book one the way he did on purpose, and then this way wasn't I'm becoming a better writer. Just say it's done on purpose. It could have been that Hadrian is like, all right, I need to tell the lead up. Let me just kind of rush through some things to get to the actual war that people want to hear about. So maybe that could be the reasoning behind. Didn't go into too much detail. When it did, it was just like, all right, let's kind of speed run through some of these action parts, because you really don't care. You want to know when I got into the war, what was my reasoning, what was my why, but you need to know my backstory a little bit. So maybe that's could be the reasoning of why I felt a little bit rushed. And
I can see that. Maybe he thinks it's more of a if that was his intention. I don't think it was, but if it was, you could see that as like, okay, this is just the boring. Let me get this out of the way to get you the full backstory. Why I hate my dad. Why I punched my brother. Why my mom is just crazy. They screw over me and Gibson and send him. He's either dead or he's banished to wherever, let's just get through all that. And then I meet, Kat, give you this real quick story with her, and then we're going to move on. And after that, it's just, he just became, and obviously I think it's more of his writing. He just became so much better as a writer from book one to book two that it's, for me, it's like night and day on what this is. And if it keeps getting better and better and better, holy smokes. I'm not even a super big science fiction guy at all. Like, I've read some science fiction. Obviously, I love Red Rising. I did not care for Hyperion right there.
Same.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
And I think I've read one or two others. I can't remember what they are now. Nothing's been great besides Red Rising, but because it's crazy
action, and it's like it feels like it's the character development. I feel like secondary to the action and the war, and you're in it. Yeah, no, I love that series to death.
And this is the complete opposite of that. This is all character building, and we're gonna slow burn dang near everything. Like, nothing happens fast. Like, you're talking every scene in this book, from what you feel like, okay, this might go down if this happens or whatever, while you're thinking in your mind. Well, that's a 25-page lead up to the part where, something might happen type deal. And it's, I don't understand anywhere where anybody talks about how they're similar, because they're not. I don't see that at all. I get some of the stuff, a few little things, but they're not.
The only similarities to me, it's that they're both science fiction.
Yeah,
and that's
pretty much.
It's like you could nitpick a few things, but I don't see anything that's like, oh, they're the same. If you like Red Rising, you will obviously like this. Or oh, you're waiting on the next Ruocchio book, read Red Rising. I don't feel like that's a good comparison at all.
They're opposites. They're definitely incredible both ways. I mean, that's all there is. Like I said, I'm almost done with Demon in White, and it has got some shocking reveals. And dude, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind.
Oh man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So, sidebar. Why did you not like Hyperion?
I expected it to have a whole lot more of the Shrike. Like, I thought this was going to be more action. There's not much action. I didn't care for, like, 4 of the 6 pilgrims. Like 2 of the stories were really good. The other 4 were just, all right, nothing special. And then you think, okay, we're gonna make it here, to the time, whatever they're called, time tombs. You're gonna end up having this big battle with the Shrike or something, and it's like, no, we're good. See you later. Read the whole book of book 2, and hopefully that tells you everything.
Right. I don't feel like anything happened in it. And I agree.
No.
It was just like, it was, all right, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We made it. The end. It's like,
yeah. It's like, here's 6 short stories, all wrote into one book, and have fun with that. See you later.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I hear book 2 and I think 3. I think there's 3 books in it. I hear they're great, but
Lord, I'd hope.
It's not anything I'm going to jump into anytime soon. And I read Hyperion a year or 2 ago, and I'm still no interest in continuing. I'm like, I'll find something else. So cool. We're on the same page when it comes to Hyperion. But yeah, I think I'm the same way. I think those are only the 3 that I've read. There might have been a few more, but nothing I can go through and think off the top of my head.
Well, I've read
science fiction books.
I was going to say Skivington's book, Brian Skivington, Lost Souls.
Oh yeah, that's
good. Really good.
That's good.
He did a good job. I've got Eternal Dreams. I don't have the book of it, but I do have the ebook. I'll eventually get to read. Yeah, I'm sure it's great.
I'm waiting on the physical copy. So I pre-ordered it months ago, months and months. And so I'm patiently waiting. I'm hoping it's going to come in soon. And once it gets in, I'm going to go through and read it. So we'll see. We'll see once we get here. But yeah, those were good. Those were good. And I'm expecting the next one to be nuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I lied. I have read a few other sci-fi books. I've read all The Expanse, Gold. They are amazing. And I've read all the Murder Bots.
I've read the first 2.
Those are pretty good. I've read the few of the Bobiverse. So yeah, I've read
several.
Yeah. I've read a good bit.
Yeah,
but
a lot more than me.
nothing that goes through is like, oh man, these are fantastic. So but The Expanse was good. But it's been since 2021, so I think that's why I forgot. But that's a great series. Loved every minute of it.
I've heard it's awesome.
Loved every minute of it. I need to watch the show. I hear it's good. All right, so pivoting back to Howling Dark. I was getting ready to say the next book, Howling Dark. I mentioned the greater good because I feel like that's a big part of this book is Hadrian starting to move to thinking more, hey, I got to look at the big picture instead of individual situations. Do you think the greater good philosophy is a valid excuse for some of Hadrian's actions that he took in the book?
Well, this is going to be kind of hard to say without giving any spoilers. Okay. At the end of book 2, obviously if you're here watching us at all, we're going to talk about spoilers because book 1, this is book 2. All right. At the end of book 2, whenever all the stuff happens and he talks to the dark or the Howling Dark, whatever it is, and all that, they basically lay out what happens in his entire life to him. Well, that gets amplified in book 3. So more on it. So I don't think he has a choice, really, because his stuff he can kind of see the future because he knows what's going to happen in his life. Obviously, in the book, he's retelling his story, but in a way, it's like he doesn't really get to choose. It's kind of chosen for him, but he doesn't know it at the time. So it's all for a purpose. We'll just say that. And you'll know that in book 3.
I'm excited. I'm excited to go through in book 3. I know pacing. We talked about pacing. Wasn't a huge fan in Empire of Silence. You enjoyed that a lot more in Howling Dark. And how is it compared to Demon in White? Does the pacing still pick up?
It's great. Yeah, same thing. Stuff happens. It's pretty constant. It's not fast paced. Don't get me not like that, but it's way more structured, way more focused, and you get a lot more to on the characters of it. You know, like what's the let me see, I've got the names down here. Is it Karn? That's the guy that's got the tubes, right? Okay. His kids, say for instance, that's Ren and Suzua. I think Suzua, something like that. Like those two, you know, you learn so much about them, what they're about, and then when you really find out about all of Karn and how he exists and all that, and how he's like basically over 15,000 years old. You know, it's like it's always interesting, I guess you'd say. There's not really anything boring in this book, neither, you know. And maybe that was the big thing too in book 1 in Empire of Silence. There was just a bunch of boring stuff I didn't care about. Everything is just so like, holy cow, what is this? You know, and what's going to happen next? What if this happens? And then you've got these crazy machine monsters, and you're like, what in the world is going on? And it's like, oh, you think the Cielson are bad? Oh, no, that's nothing. Like, check these guys out, you know. And it just gets amped up, you know. So there's constantly something that's pushing you along in this book that's just so much more interesting, you know. And his love life with what is her name? I can never remember her name. The doctor. Oh geez, I can't remember it. And I know he says it probably 1,000 times in it, but you know, they're growing love interest in each other and all that, and it just, I don't know. There's just constantly something that's pushing you along, even though it's slow paced, just like the other one. There's just more of everything, and it's just better. I know that's weird, but it just is.
I really liked in this book the symbolism between what Hadrian goes through from a void perspective or darkness perspective, because he's physically going through and he's in space and he's actually going through the darkness, but also from internally, he's confronting some internal struggles. And you mentioned that at the beginning, that he's like literally talking to himself, trying to navigate those feelings and those void and those darkness he has within him of really the unknown, and trying to figure out, like, how do we go peacefully with the Cielson and then all these other chaotic creatures he's going through, and the route that he's going, the doubt that he has. I find it very intriguing and deeper, and really built more on itself within this book. And it's, I feel like he's really starting to lose who he was at the beginning of Empire of Silence. It's like the Empire of Silence, he was a child, and then now he's like being hardened into a man in Howling Dark. And that's just, you know, like things, more and more things are going where it's like he's more idealistic. He's like, hey, these happy things. And it's like, nah, that's not how life works. Let's like beat you into what the life is really like when you're out in the world dealing with people.
Yeah. And you talking about him questioning himself and all that. Once again, in Demon in White, it happens more and more, and then you're gonna understand just so much more about everything with that, because obviously with what happens, and he gets basically reincarnated, however you want to say it, you know, he's constantly questioning. It's like, am I really me? Like, is it me, or am I somebody else, like Karn or whatever, you know, who can read, you know, basically regenerate himself
Mhm.
by having all these clones, and puts his mind into them and all that. And it gets questioned a few times by a few people in it.
So let's go through and talk about that. We're gonna go very spoiler right now. All right, that's your warning. All right, so let's talk about that final sequence then.
Yeah.
Where Hadrian dies, which that blew my mind. And that's the part I was like, there's no
Yeah.
way I just read this. There's no way
Yeah.
this is real. Let me go backwards and listen to this again. It's like, no, the dude,
Yeah.
like, he dead. He, like, there was not like, oh, he might not be. No, dude, 100% was dead.
He make sure I'm right. He cuts his right arm off and then cuts his head off.
Head off. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude's dead.
Yep. Falls into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
He basically sees himself die. His head's on the ground and he sees his body fall into the water and he dies. But the craziest thing is he instantaneously comes back to life. But what's so weird about it?
His
it's
left
arm that gets fixed. Basically, his right arm's still on, and his head gets put right back on his body. Like, what?
Yeah, huge questions there because they don't explain this, and I'm assuming they get into it a little bit more in the next book. But so, what exactly then died in that moment? Did you go through and think about that? Like, what actually died?
I don't know, because he, that's when he goes off, spiritually, whatever his mind, and goes to the Howling Dark and this dark entity or whatever that basically tells him everything that's going on, why he's, I don't know if I mentioned this book or another or whatever, like he's kind of like the chosen one, sort of. I mean, in a way he is.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend literally watches him rise up from the water and then turns around and goes and kills Prince Arenado, whatever his name is. It's like, what the heck is this?
Mm-hmm.
It's so wild. And it's just so, the craziest thing about it is it's just so nonchalant, like in the story. Like if you read up to it, to the part where it happens, he dies and literally gets reincarnated in like 2 pages.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much it's like, and then you just move on. I don't know. It was just so weird to me. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was awesome, but
yeah, I started. So to me, reflecting back on it. So in the moment, I was like, what the hell? Is that really him? Or is that a clone? Or did our Hadrian, is he gone? And then this is something else. And that's what was happening when I was going through and reading the book. Since I finished the book and I've been reflecting on what actually died. And I think it was his identity, his remaining grip on who he was as a child. I feel like this was the moment the child Hadrian died, and the adult Hadrian, who he becomes, the guy writing this actual story, this is when he actually is formed and like, this is the person in the actual book. So I'm no longer looking for that peace moment. I'm not a peace first. I'm becoming more of that myth character that he starts to become later on in the series.
You know where I actually think that started at? When he killed the prince's son. I think that's where he kind of, I don't want to say broke, but was kind of like, there's only one way through. I've already asked this guy to stop multiple times. And he even says it. I do not want to kill this kid. I do not want to do this, and then turns around and plunges the old sword through his neck or whatever and kills him right there. And I was
crazy.
Like, wow,
awesome.
He actually killed a kid in this. Like that's, you would, especially to be a hero in the story, because I mean, I would say that's what he is. I was not expecting that. And then when they finally meet that battle and he dies and all that, and you're like, I felt like that right there is where it started and ended when he got his head cut off. And then when he gets resurrected, he's somebody. It's him. It is him, but he's not the same.
So do you think he is a hero?
Well, I mean, do you think mass murdering millions of people is a hero? I
Well,
think okay,
I think
okay.
it goes back to that greater good thing. Like,
That's
am I doing this for better of humanity? I personally don't see him as a hero. I see him as the um let me get your what do you think? Do you think he's a hero before I start giving my
I'm gonna say I'm kind of feeling like you. I don't feel like he is. I think it's either I kill all these people,
mm,
all these Seosans, or they're wiping us out and we're all dead anyways. Like it's like a moral choice
mhm.
on there's only one way through this. If I'm gonna survive, my family, everybody in the world, I'm gonna have to kill all these people. Otherwise, we're all gonna die anyways.
Mhm.
So he doesn't have in a way, he doesn't have a choice. He does, obviously, but you're gonna die if you don't do it, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah, the story feels less like a traditional hero's journey
yeah.
and more like a slow burn transformation into the figure of legend that he says he is at the beginning, who has
Yeah.
all this burden and all this danger that he had to go through. So that's kind of what I feel with him. I agree that it's kind of a double-edged sword of like, do I let all the people I know and care about die, or do I genocide all these people? And it's like I can't, morally, for me, I can't go, and that's the good guy. Like I
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing that's interesting too about it is if you'll notice, and it happens even more in book 3 as well, his legend grows by not only the things he does, but they also start nicknaming him a bunch of things too. Like that, his nicknames grow as well. You know, I can't remember what's all in this one. There's like one or two. Well, there's even more in book 3. You know, like there's like Demon in White is like one of his nicknames. You know, it's
Mhm.
there's like 5 or 6 of them, I think, by the end of book 3. And I just think it's interesting on like everybody calls him basically just a straight. I mean, he's not a murderer. You know, they don't call him a murderer, but all of his words are like all of his nicknames are basically people that kill a bunch of people.
Mhm.
You know, so it's kind of symbolism on that, I guess. On like he has to be.
What are you talking about? Griffin's just upset that I'm trying to take his uh his place as being the interview guy. Like Griffin is the king of interviews, and I am trying to I'm trying to get up to your level, Griffin. That's what I'm trying to
There
do,
you
buddy.
go. There you go.
Trying to be that up there with you. You know, trying to compete. Trying to compete. Man. But no, man, that like I he's becoming more, he's not a man in this story, I feel like. And he's really that myth that
Yeah.
he's becoming from people, definitely after his resurrection. Like, I know it went through it, like you said, very quickly, but then like people were really like, oh, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
So it's
And it gets talked about a bunch.
in
After it happens,
mhm.
Demon in White, it gets brought up several times. Same way. It's just like, again, nobody believes it. It's like, is this true? You know, and then because he even talks about it a few times where he's like, no, that didn't happen or whatever. And then finally later on, he's like, yeah, it happened. Because a lot of time, and that's the thing you'll understand when you get to book 3. A lot of it there is like no one gives him the credit for what he did a lot. And he's like, no, I did this. And the only way that he can prove he did it is what happened to him, you know, by dying. You know,
Mhm.
it's just crazy. There's just so many spinning webs in these books that I don't know. It blows my mind.
So going back before you started book 3, was there any like big questions you had after finishing Howling Dark of like, oh, I'm really curious about this? I'll say mine. My number one was, so what is Hadrian becoming? That transformation that happened to him. it seemed to like evolve him. It started to accelerate him into the legend figure, and I really wanted to see what he was going to become. And that's kind of my biggest question, is really about Hadrian, because that the death scene and then him coming back and the changing of what was actually cut off kind of blew my mind a little bit. And I'm really curious what comes with that. So that was my biggest question after finishing Howling Dark.
It just, well, to answer, not to, obviously I'm not going to spoil anything on it, but it just keeps growing. Like literally, like more stuff happens to him. He overcomes more odds. It just doesn't end. It's like, and that's the craziest thing, is still after book 3, like it's just, I don't know. It's just not. Yeah, I don't know. Now I've even lost the train of thought of what I'm trying to say. I don't mean it's crazy. That's all I can say. As far as like what was I looking to see what happens is, like, how does this get even bigger to where he blows up a planet,
right,
or a sun, I mean, blows up a sun and kills all these people. Like, how does it come to that? Well, you get the makings of the start of it in Demon in White. Oh, like, okay. Another thing too is Demon in White gets more political in a way. Like this one kind of starts, because you're meeting all these new people, and they're like, obviously you got the mythical guy that you don't think, nobody knows this place even exists, and then he's like, no, he does. And he's way older than you even could imagine him to be, and then when you keep moving on the next book, well, then there's even higher tier, but not higher than him, but like on the same planes on like what he is. And it's like, I see where, okay, I understand where this is going. All the stakes keep getting ratcheted up just a little bit more each time. And it's just like getting him to where he's going to go to blow this sun up. I mean, there is, and it's just a steady climb, nothing crazy all at once. It's not like a book where you would think, okay, you start off, oh, I've got to go blow up the sun, you're going to figure this out real quick. It's like, no, this is just a slow, methodical tick that gets there. And it does.
Yeah, it's a little stare after each individual one. The part that I'm really curious about is he's mentioned multiple times that he's telling this story because a lot of the stories that are out there are not true. And he's like, I want to tell you what really happened. So I'm curious to what was fabricated. What legends, because it's not like he passed, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's really dead and people are like making up stories after he's gone. He's still alive. So it's like, what stories are being fabricated now that he feels I need to tell this story? And then what are those fabricated stories? It's like, I'm trying to understand a little bit more about that side of the house.
I'm kind of curious if actually any of it's fabricated, because that's kind of another thing in the next book where he talks a little about it. Like, he even mentions multiple times, and he's like, okay, reader, this is so-and-so. And I want to think he mentions it there too, where I have no reason to lie about any of this. Like, he's stuck, like he's in prison. He's not getting out, by what it sounds like anyways. So he's like basically just going to rot there forever. So he's like, what do I care now? It's already done and over. So why am I going to lie about it? I don't know. I could be wrong.
But can you trust that?
No.
Hey,
so, winners get to tell the story, right?
Right. I mean, so those are the big ones. I feel like there's something else. I just didn't write it down. Of another question. Obviously, I want to learn more about the Sea Elson. I really want to know as much as I can about them. I find them very intriguing. So that is there also. And that might be the 3 big questions I had was, what if something was fabricated, was it really? And then if so, what was and by who? Like, who's fabricating stories about you when you're doing all this messed up stuff? So what is so bad that you now have to go, no, let me tell you the real story. I really didn't blow up a son. Like, are we going to find out that's a lie? That it wasn't actually him who did it?
That'd be interesting. I don't know, because, man, like I said, I really don't think he fears like dying. So why would he care about, you know, what's the worst that can happen to him? You know, he's stuck there. What am I worried about if I tell the truth on everything?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of, but then I understand where you're coming from on, like, okay, I could just totally fabricate this whole entire story and just sound like a bigger legend than what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's the same thing. I was like, what does it matter? You know, I
No.
did it. You know, I am this super legend that everyone thinks I am. Yeah, I did a lot of this stuff, and it was not by myself. He could, because I mean, he couldn't have done it by himself. I don't know. That's interesting to think of.
You know, and that's the part that, like, he keeps bringing it up, and I feel like if you weren't bringing it up, then it wouldn't be a question that keeps lingering in the back of my head. But you've brought up more than once, so it's like either it's people are lying and saying he's done more stuff, or you're like, no, I've killed a lot more people. Let me tell you about these more people. I'm even more of a badass. So it's like one of the two. Either I didn't actually blow up the sun and they're framing me for it, which would be a crazy ending to this whole thing of he's being framed. He's done all this other bad stuff leading up to this, but he's like, I did not do this last thing.
Yeah.
Or I killed a lot more people than you know. Like, do you think that was the worst thing I did? I'm not about to blow your mind.
Yeah. That's, and like I'm still questioning, and we're not going to know it till the end either, I'm assuming. But this book is Ruoccio's writing? Obviously, book 7's coming out at the end of the year. Because I'm still not done with book 3, obviously, but there's 3 more books besides that. Does he actually end up getting out of prison or wherever he's at? You know, and the last book is what's actually going on, or does he actually die in prison? You know, like something crazy, and the whole thing is literally just his story. You know, that he writes in this book or books, whatever, like he's doing now as he's talking about it to you. You know, it's so, I'm so curious about it on like how that actually is going to happen. Like, is he going to find a way out, you know, and then ride off into the sunset, or, you know, is he known he's going to die in there and this is the story that he's wanting to tell you, you know, type deal. Like, I'm so intrigued by that. It's so interesting. It's a weird way to write it, you know.
Well, he does it so well. Normally, to be very honest, I'm not a fan of, I've been through some craziness. Let me tell you about it. And then I'm usually not a fan of that. But I really like the way Ruocchio does. It doesn't feel like it's being retold going backwards. It's more, it feels a little bit different than a lot of the other books, but it's also, he's top notch. He's like the top tier when it comes to writing. So it's like,
because he doesn't feel like an unreliable narrator.
No.
Like, telling this story, retelling it, like as he's doing in it, doesn't feel like somebody that doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, he seems very specific on everything he says. Like, no, this is what happens, and that's how it is. Oh man, this is weird. Okay, it mentions in book 2 in Howling Dark, I think, about how, if not in book 2, I know it does in book 3, but it's not really a spoiler. If it is, it's not really a giveaway or nothing. But his doctor girlfriend or whatever, she dies at some point, right? I mean, it's mentioned. I know it's mentioned for sure at some point. I'm curious if she dies, like, helping him retell the story. Like, is she in there with it, or does she die in one of the other books? You know, top deal. Because it's mentioned in there a few times that, you know, because she's got a photographic, like, doesn't forget anything. Like, her memory is like incredible, you know, because she's got the computer in her brain, you know, so she doesn't remember anything. And like reading books, like, she literally can just flip pages and just remembers what it is. So, and that may not have, it's just something random I'm thinking of. It's like, that would be interesting if she's like there helping him retell the story, because she's been with him ever since the end of book one, you know. And if you also notice, book one was way more all over the place, and from book two on, it's way more focused,
very streamlined, so yeah. Book one could have been him trying to tell the. Now that would be a story if that is so. Say that's 100% right, and they're both in jail, and she's like, "Geez, can you not remember anything?" He's like, "I don't remember. Was it this? Just hurry up, and I will help you write the next part of the book." Like that would be a very entertaining story. Like, how do you not remember any details of this? It's like, just keep going. That's a good idea. That's a good theory. And then figuring out, I guess, where the last book. Like, I haven't thought about that until you said it, but now I'm kind of sitting on it of how far into the last book until we get to modern day.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like the last chapter, and then he goes, and then I die tomorrow, and then he's like, the book ends? Or is it going to be like, he finishes the book halfway through this one, and then we're like, all right, now we're actually following his real life perspective as he's going through, and that's interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think
there's a bunch of theories.
I'm really hoping we get our mind blown with the last one, and that's the big thing with this. I have a lot of faith in Ruocchio, but damn, if he craps the bed on this last one and just like completely butchers the ending, like it would be
I don't see that happening, but you're going to get your mind blown in book three. Like you're talking about like nearly shedding a tear in book two. It might actually happen in book three.
Oh man,
I'll tell you this. Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, dude, I'm telling you, it's so dang good.
I'm excited. Hey friend, long time no see.
What's up?
Glad you're here. All right. That's all I have, man. That's all I have on Howling Dark. Is there anything else on your list that you want to go through and yap about? And then I kind of have some questions on non-Christopher Ruocchio stuff we can yap about.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to read my notes. Oh, the Painted Man. Dude was crazy. Like, that was wild. Like, finally, after chapter 4, when it starts and you meet him and he's like super creepy, you know, I was like, oh, wow, this actually might turn around for me. And you go through that whole sequence with him, I was like, this is pretty dang good now. Like, it's like he really got stuff figured out. And then going and meeting, you know, I'm just trying to go through this book on everything I liked. That was great. You know, the Painted Man, how he ended up dying. Then you meet, what's his name? Jeez. I can never remember it. Karin, you know, you meet him, you know, he's mythical, you know, and then the way you think he dies and how the whole entire planet shuts down, you know, when he dies, and you're like, holy crap, what is going, like, he's literally like planet level, like just power. And then, you know, it gets rebooted into his 2 kids, you know, and that basically, him protecting those kids is what saved, I really am pretty nearly 100% positive that's what saved his life.
Yeah.
You know, because he saved him, which, you know, he saved the kids, which in turn saved him. And you will get something super interesting with the old left arm in book 3. I'll say that. It's crazy. Crazy. So yeah, everything's great. Like, this whole entire series turned around with this book. Like, and I don't know. It's so good. So good.
Have you thought about who would, so I just Googled real quick, if anyone, if there's been a Painted Man, like, hey, this is what he would go through and look like. And this is the creepiest thing. So I guess someone typed into AI their description, and this is what AI is showing as the Painted Man. I'm about to show, like, anyone that's iffy on seeing something messed up, you might want to jump off because this gets freaky. So I'm going to go through and show this to you.
Okay.
Look at this.
Holy cow!
Like crazy,
Yeah,
crazy. So yeah, they said they used AI to go through and get what this thing looked like, and it wasn't as creepy in my head, but now I can't get this vision out of my head of this is
Yeah.
what the painted man actually went through and looked like.
Oof. That's
Terrifying,
wild. Yeah,
terrifying.
absolutely.
But it has like the eyes on his hand,
Eyes on
so
his hands.
it has that kind of stuff on there of what it actually looked
Yeah.
like. But like this thing is terrifying, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What about? Go ahead. Go ahead. You
No,
go
I'm just saying. I really want this to be like a show or something. Like I would
Yeah.
think it would be awesome if Sun Eater became like a show and we can actually visualize what some of these
Yeah.
characters going through look like. Like I'm really happy. What is it? Book 4? Is it book 4 or 5 that the CLs and we actually get a picture of like what they looked like. And then the special editions, they had more pictures of them out.
Yeah, I can show them to you. Have you seen
But
them?
yeah,
You know what they look like?
yeah.
Okay.
It's on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
yeah,
like, I
they're
want to
like
see some of these other crazy
Yeah.
things as well.
Yeah. I want to see the giant robots, you know, that basically were human, sort of. Like, and then there's one of them that was kind of C. Elson before he was a robot, you know, and it's, dude, once again, Demon and White's got some battle scenes that are wild. Like you are, oh my gosh. So you're gonna love it. But yeah, they're the fight scene basically you know, whenever he gets out and goes to the water, you know, he finds that other robot, you know, that's out there that's like just massive. You know, then you got the one that's protecting the children, you know, and then just like, and that it does get a whole lot more like creepy and like not horror vibes, but in a way, because there's a lot of times now where he talks about like scratching and crawling and, you know, on like stuff you can't see. And then they kind of just show up out of nowhere type deal. Like I don't know. He's just so much better of a writer now than he was. And I mean, after book 1, I know so many people love Empire of Silence. And it
Didn't
just
he
wasn't for
write
me.
book 1 when he was like 15?
I think he started the process when he was 15, but he really was in between, I think, 17 and 20, maybe. Whenever he finished it, somewhere in there. I want to think that's right.
I'm giving see what old Google has to say. Yeah, so high school, started in high school, and then throughout his college years at NC State. So yeah, he started writing the first one in high school, which I was barely writing a sentence.
Oh,
together.
for real, for real. It's like I could the words he uses, I couldn't even, you know, think about in high school. I can barely think about some of them now.
Yeah,
like it's wild, like how much, and I just can't imagine like how much better the writing gets from where I'm at, you know, in Demon and White. Like what is, you know, Ashes of Man and Kingdoms of Death and what is Disquieted Gods, and then this last one, you know, like what is it gonna be once you get to it? Like how much better can you get as a writer? Like he's already like top tier. Like his writing is so good that I don't know. Like,
well, that's been I've been feeling bad for these past 2 months. I'm going through and reading some indie book, like a lot of indie books this month, and I'm reading Christopher Ruocchio along with them, and I'm like, when I'm going through and rating and trying to be like, it's good, but it's not like up at this level. So it's like I'm feeling bad because I'm like, I probably would rate these a little bit higher, but I'm like, I'm sorry I'm comparing you. That I'm reading your book the same time. You're the first time writing a book, and I'm comparing and I'm reading Howling Dark at the exact same time. So I'm very sorry that I appreciate it, but it's just like not hitting like this one does, because the prose in this is fantastic. Like all around, I truly enjoyed this book. Are you planning on doing the novellas also, the in between books?
I might go back and try those later. I'm not now. I just want to get through the stories now. Like, just give me everything because I know he's talked about it. He's like, you do not have to read any of these novellas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're just more side stories on if you're interested in learning them. So excuse me. I may eventually, but right now just leave me with the main focus. That's what I want. So I think I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the Lesser Devil, that the first one where you're with Crispin. So I think I'm going to do that one before I go through and continue after Demon in White. I think after Demon in White, I'm going to take probably a breather and then jump into that novella and then continue on to the remainder. Because I'm 100% going to continue with Demon in White. I thought it was so. I need to know what's going to happen next within the story because it's so good. It's so good. And then hearing you say it gets even better, or it's at least minimum, if not better, I don't understand how. I do not understand how. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. For one, like I said, the stakes get ramped up a little bit more. There is reveals that you don't see coming, like they are out of nowhere. Like, holy crap, are you serious? This just happened. There's new characters that get brought in that are part of the story. I don't know if they continue on through, but basically he works his way up to be not powerful as in power, but as in like more powerful as in a person. Like his rank.
Like political?
Yeah, politically, all that. Yeah, it rises a lot and fast. And because it does, people get upset. And then that makes him have enemies. And like they're just coming a little on. You got the Cielson that's after him, or well, not technically after him, but he ends up fighting. Oh, this is no spoiler, but he ends up fighting a what is he, like a guard for somebody super important. And that battle is crazy. When you get to it, that's when you find out a little more about something that got fixed on him in book 2.
Okay.
I'll say that like
that's one of the big questions I have is like what happened with the arms? Why was it
the arm thing?
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad they explained that in the next one because I was worried it was going to be like it does. They talk about it a little bit, but they don't really explain it until later on in the series. But I'm glad they go a little bit more detail with it.
Yeah, it just my gosh. I said I'm not done with it yet. I'm close. Like I said, I think I've got 5 hours left in the audiobook. And it's incredible. That's all I can say. It is. It's so good. It's just as good, if not better, than Howling Dark. Awesome. And from where I say, if you put a rating on it, which I think we did on the last one, Empire of Silence for me was like a 3. It's a good book. It's not great. It's not bad. Howling Dark is freaking 5 stars. And unless this absolutely craps the bed, Demon in White's going to be the same thing. And I don't see it doing that.
Let me pull up what I rated it. Let's take a look. Got to go to my fancy Excel spreadsheet to figure out what I rated things.
I've got one of those
pretty
too.
Positive. Oh, you do? Nice.
I do. I have every book that. What in the world? Well, that's not where it's at. I have every book that I own or have read. Oh, well, no, not since I started. Yeah. Every one of them's on it. And every one of them is rated, and they all have how many pages, if it was a book, Kindle book, audio book, if it was a gift from an author, if it's indie, like I've got all that on it.
Oh, nice.
So,
I'm not that detailed. Yeah. So, but yeah, this goes back to 2020, and I have titles. Look, I'll just show you. What am I doing? I have it up. I have it up. I'll just show it to you. So I rated Empire Silence. So I rate mine out of 10, and I rated it a 10 out of 10. I thought it was amazing.
Okay.
So obviously, Howling Dark also received a 10 out of 10. And I've only rated 4 books in this year a 10 out of 10. Only been 4 books.
No kidding.
2 of them were Christopher Ruocchio.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's how I do things.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so good. All right, so I'm gonna share this with you because it's easier.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is my fancy Excel spreadsheet. I have title, title, series, author, genre, same thing, type. Is it a reread or not? What my estimated rating is going to be? What?
You even guess? Do you guess before you do it?
I guess, and how I guess is normally based off of the back of the book, the hype, and the cover. So I guess, give it an actual rating, when I read it, month, year, will I read it again, and then my 1 sentence.
That's my favorite part of it all, right there.
So it's like, it's just my nonsense here, and then I have my summary tab. So I have for this year, so I can go through and see my percentages of how many books I read through audio, ebook, hard copy, my average rating, best book of the month. And then I have a best book since I've started reading.
Oh my Lord.
And then I highlight in black my favorite book of the year. So last year was The Heroes, Ezra Hardin, and I go back there. So I highlight those. And then
I see, is that Last Argument of Kings was 21?
I read it in July 2021, and that was my favorite book in 2021.
So Abercrombie's got 2 of your last 6 years. Pretty good. I'm gonna throw this out there just randomly because I don't know, but I'm getting the vibe from like a lot of people. The Devils ain't gonna be on this list.
It is not going to be close.
That's what I've heard.
Be close.
So many people just disappointed, and not that it's a bad book. It's just it ain't First Law.
No, it's not. It's not there at all, man.
It's almost like a lot of people talk about how they don't like their jokes and stuff. It's kind of just like what they are. Like that's just it. They do a lot of joking and stuff, and it's just nothing feels serious enough, in it.
All right, so I'm halfway through the book, and I'm doing a buddy read with Chris and Logan, and we were supposed to stop at the halfway mark. We're supposed to go through and discuss it soon. I can't recall when. And it's been about 2 weeks since I've gotten halfway through the book. So I'm going to finish it. But when I'm reflecting on it, nothing stands out as, oh, I'm going to remember this book years later. All those books I was showing that the best books on there, I'm good. I point at one, I'll tell you everything about it. I loved every single one of these books. That one's not there. It's just not, it's good enough for one-time read, and then I'm probably just going to keep it on the shelf if I'm not give it away. And that's very disappointing because he's one of my favorite authors. Yeah. So the humor, it is a lot of poop humor, a lot of pee humor, and everyone's sarcastic. Everybody. So if you read, any of the First Law books, you have some snarky characters, but not every single character snarky because they're all demons. They're all like supernatural characters. So they're like, I can't die, doesn't matter. And they're just being very like that. And it's like, it's fine. And I know he's making a trilogy. To be honest, I'm probably, unless this ends and knocks it out of the park where I'm like, I need more, I'm probably not going to continue with the next 2 books unless
I had seen John from Talking Story, and he's fixing to read it, I think, or he just finished it. And I know Jacob DNF'd it, his son. And if John doesn't like something, or not like blown away by it, because he's like one of the most positive people I watch on BookTube. Like he likes like dang near everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, like Jacob was like, no, this ain't for me. And he, because he got like an advanced reader copy of it and everything and just wasn't impressed. And now I've seen more and more people come out talking about like it's just not great, like what you're expecting. It's okay. It's an okay book. And I mean, man, that's what book number. I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is like book 11, no, 12, 13, 14. This is book 15 or 16 for him.
Yeah.
Like total.
Yeah.
You're going to have a miss eventually. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. I mean, look at like Sanderson. Like I read the whole Cosmere. He's got a few misses in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. There's no author that's going to write a great book every single time when you get that many numbers under your belt. It's just not possible. You might think, some people might think, no, every book they put out's incredible, but in reality, there's no way they're all amazing. That's just not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this book, if it wasn't Joe Abercrombie and it was just John Smith that wrote The Devils, I feel like people would like it more than what people are going through it now. I feel like when you write such amazing stories and then this one is just middle of the road,
mm-hmm.
I think that's why more and more people DNF this book than probably they would have.
Could be. Yeah. You just got such high expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and when they don't live up to your own expectations of an author, is it his fault? A lot of times it's kind of like this is something totally different. I guess it's the second time he's went out of the first law type deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other one was a YA series, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, I've read the first one. I didn't like that one either.
Yeah, and maybe that's his niche is the first law, and he's great at that. And he might do this on the same. I mean, supposedly, I think he's already come out and said that he's going back to the first law later.
Maybe yeah, after I think this one's supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah, so. And then he's gonna go back. So, I mean, I'm sure it'll get back incredible again. You know?
I don't know. It's a little bit disappointing. A little bit disappointing. So, what are you reading right now? You're going through Demons in White. Is there any other books you're going through?
I just started. Let me find it on my app on my Kindle. I've got my Kindle downstairs. I'm reading it. Geez, library. There we go. What is it called? I have an e-arc for. I don't have it with me on my phone. Son of a gun. I'll tell you what. I can tell you what it is. Let me get on the old X Machine. I was going to read Muscle by Dave. Was it John Davies? I have it. It's like 97 pages. It's something small. Oh, okay. It's here we go. It's Dark in Their Minds. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not it. Now I feel dumb. Oh, yeah, that's it. Are you ready for this? Yeah, I think it's called It's Dark in Their Minds. Rod sent it to me. What is his last name? I don't know his last name. He sent it to me. It's an anthology, horror novels. There's like 9 or 10 of them. It's a bunch of different authors.
Yeah.
And I just started it. I'm reading the first one right now. I'm like 12 pages in, so I just started it like a few hours ago. But the first one, it's pretty wild. It's like based on like today, like your afternoon. Basically, this guy, just a real quick summary that I've read so far. This guy's kayaking down the river, and he's there with a bunch of he doesn't have a lot of money. He's just a normal dude. But he talks about how there's a bunch of rich guys there, like your bankers and lawyers that all have these super expensive boats. And this one, I guess, dentist comes by in his super expensive boat that's like worth more than the guy's house, goes by and gets real close to him apparently and blows him off his canoe and drops him in the water, and his smoking hot wife or girlfriend or whatever's laughing. They ends up, he gets mad or whatever, gets in his kayak, kayaks back to the shore, and then he ends up sitting there waiting on the guy to load up his boat whenever he gets back, because they're out there enjoying the sun. And he's rich, whatever. He doesn't know how to hook up the boat. He does, but he ends up following him. And whenever he's following him at the time, the boat gets loose from the trailer from his F-350 King Ranch, like it's specific on the truck, and he ends up coming out and he's like talks to him for a minute, doesn't mention nothing about the canoe. And then the guy basically looks at him and looks at his car and sees that he don't have a bunch of money, and he basically tells him to get lost. And he turns around and goes to start working on his boat. When he does, dude takes his hands and just slams his head down on the boat, like the railing or whatever, and then beats him to death and kills him, throws him in the back of the truck, drives and parks it at a school, and then leaves and goes back home. And now he's watching it on the news. Like they're questioning the girl that he was with, and like he's got an estranged marriage, sort of, and, like crazy. That's where I'm at right now. And he's just laughing about it. He's like, yeah, I killed this dude.
So whatever. Craziness. Yeah, because I'm seeing here there's not that many pages in it, so it's like 150
like
pages.
100, 150, something like that, 147. Yeah, it's short. It comes out, I think, in July as well. I think that's right. Maybe later.
Yeah, and it looks like there's 10 stories, so they don't seem like there's a lot. That's crazy. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in it. So now that I've started, I'm like, okay, this sounds pretty freaking cool. But I was gonna read Muscle by John Davies. So I may, because it's like I said, it's like 97 pages. I'm just trying to think of some short books that I can do right now besides audio, because I just don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I had started The Freeing of the World.
Yeah,
I am not,
so good.
And I am 70 pages in, and it's just not hitting me right now. I think it's going to be really good, but I'm putting it down, and I'll come back to it at some point. Because I know like what Shane on X, I know me and you know him. He's rated, I think he's read 3 or 4 of them.
I think he's on the 4th one. Yeah,
maybe. And like,
I've only read the first one, and I thought it was good. It's I want to continue. It's just like there's a lot. There's so many books out there.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what I'm struggling with now, where I'm trying to like, okay, I'm going to start picking kind of what I feel like I want to read, because otherwise I'm not enjoying it, especially right now at this time where I'm so busy, where I don't really have time to sit down much. I'm just going to start reading stuff that's really piquing my interest, because I'm really wanting to read Boy's Life, and I'm really wanting to read Jade City, like really bad.
Jade City, like one of my favorites, man. If you like The Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
Did you read the Godfather book?
No. I watched all the movies. I've not read the books.
You need to read the books, man. Like the book is so damn good. But yeah, Jade City's right up there. Like if you like The Godfather, you're going to adore Jade City. The whole trilogy was so good. It's like one of my favorites. Fantastic. I've not read Boy's Life. It's on my list, but like I'm like, that's a commitment, man. That's a hefty book.
No, it ain't no bigger
Boy's
than
Life is a hefty book. What it's like 700 pages, 800 pages?
No.
580.
Where am I at? Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
No, 608.
Okay.
608 pages right there.
Okay. Still seems kind of hefty. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm looking.
It's a big book. 600 pages. That's a big book. I get it. But what you're reading, like if you're fixing to go to Demon and White, it's bigger than Howling Dark, and Howling Dark's a big book.
Well, and that's why I'm going to take a break after this next one, regardless of how much I like it. I just need to pump the brakes with these thick books. Like this upcoming month, I think I'm only reading. Like I have my list up somewhere. I'm only reading 3 books that are over 500 pages. Everything else I'm doing 200 or less. Like most of them are about 100 pages. And it's just like, I need to get, most of these are arcs that I've received, and I'm like, I'll get to it eventually, but I'm like, why not do it now? Like, I'm just going to go through and knock out a 100-page book in a few days. And then
I'll tell you what I'm super excited for as far as audiobooks. I actually just got this from Tim McKay. He sent me the audio for the fall. What is it? Sylvan Drill. Yeah. I've got it on an ebook as well. But yeah, he sent me the audiobook. So that's what I'm going to next after I get done with Demon and White. So I think I told him, I was like, I've got it to finish. I'll be done on Monday, and then I'm gonna probably start it next. I've heard it's really good. The book's supposed to be really good. That cover's freaking sick.
It looks so good. It looks so good. Yeah, I'm trying to finalize. So I'm almost finished with the BBNY, the book blogger. Let me type.
Oh yeah, the thing that you got to. Yeah.
So I'm going through those, and there's 20 something books that I'm going through and reading for those. Technically, I'm not supposed to say which books I'm reading, but there are some bangers in there because it's right now it's just the first chapter or the it's like most of it's first chapter. Sometimes it's chapter and a half. They're short, but like some of these, I'm like,
wait a minute, that's all you get to read.
And I want to talk about them. So starting out, so they, you start out, you get, you read the first chapter of the book, you go through and you rate it. You rate 4 different things on it: the characters, the how much you were interested in it, the writing style, things like that. Rate it out of 5, and then there's a bunch of us, and then it starts narrowing it down. So the top X amount gets added on, and then they keep going down, and you get more and more of the book until the very end of it being like, all right, these are the top 10. Here's the whole book. And then everyone's going to go through and read the whole book of the top whatever. So
that's pretty dang cool. So it kind of forces you to, I would say force, but if your beginning of your book is awesome, then you have a better chance at surviving.
Right.
I kind of like that idea because it also makes sense, because if your first of your book is kind of boring, most people ain't going to stay on and keep reading it. Like you're going to have to amp that up. Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And there's been some like notable names on X who I've gone through and talked with, and I'm like, they're like, I'm like, oh, I want to tell you, I really like you, but I can't say anything. I don't want to say anything because I'm really enjoying doing this, and I want to continue with these people, and then potentially maybe do other like reads and reviews kind of thing. So I'm like, I'm trying to take it a little serious, but it's like some of these, I'm like, man, these are fantastic. So I'm like, I'm getting excited. So I got like 5 more to get through before the end of next month. So we'll see. We have till end of July to go.
I'll tell you what you can pick for me, because you've probably read of it more than me. I just finished Billy Summers, my first ever Stephen King.
Oh, that was your first one?
Yeah. And I know everyone's like, why did you start with that?
Yeah.
Here's my reason. I did not want top tier Stephen King. I wanted middle of the road, really good, which is what I've been told. It's a top 20 of his like 80 something books. And I freaking love this. I love this book. It is so good. It's just like the way he writes. He's so good at describing like what people wear. And I know it's super random, but like he talks Walmart. I bet he mentions Trump 10 times in that dang book over, the 2016 election. And anyways, it's just the story's awesome. Like the characters, I really like Billy. I can't remember the girl's name that he helped survive, basically, who got drugged and gang raped, I guess, sort of, and then threw her out on the shoulder. Have you read it?
I've not read Billy Summers. No.
Okay. So anyways, story's great. It's about his last mission as an assassin. He's trying to get out of the business and do all that. Crap goes wrong. It's awesome. Here's my question. What do I read next of his?
So I've not read a bunch of old school Stephen King. I started later Stephen King. So my recommendations now, I'm starting to go back and read his older stuff, and The Long Walk was the most recent one I read. Holy hell, was that good?
Boom.
Holy hell, was that good? So good. That is a nothing. I'm gonna be very
The
honest
movie
with
comes
you,
out in
Rowdy.
September, so I was debating on if I'm going to read it August or should I just go ahead and pick it up when
So
I get a chance.
I'm gonna tell you something. Nothing happens in this book. It's literally people
just them
walking.
walking.
It's very character and like emotional within but it's fantastic. If you're looking for modern that is a lot of fun, he has 3 books that I've gone through and read that fans of Stephen King from the beginning of time, they're not a huge fan of these books. Again, I'm new in the Stephen King. I really enjoyed it. The Outsider by Stephen King was a horror type of book. Awesome. Highly recommend that. If you're looking for more like fantasy, fairy tale, I thought was a lot of fun.
I heard that book's incredible. The first half and the second half completely falls apart. Is that true?
I wouldn't say it all the way falls apart. So the first half and second half of the book are completely different stories. The first half is in the real world, kid helping an old man out, and he's trying to, going through and growing that connection. And then the second half feels a completely different story where he's in a fairy tale world where it's a little weird, but still fun. And then The Institute, I really like The Institute. That was one of the first Stephen Kings I went through. And it's about this company who kidnaps kids or kills their parents, kidnaps the kids, and takes them to an institute because they have special powers. And they're trying to harness it for government to go through and, this doesn't really spoil anything, but goes through and uses them to do government things.
Okay.
And so they're using these psychic kids, and it's about the kids' perspective. So those 3 I found were very good. And then now I'm going backwards and reading some of the older stuff. The Green Mile, I can't go wrong with The Green Mile. That was gold.
Got that.
Pet Cemetery was awesome.
I don't have it, but yeah, it's on the list.
Under the Dome was my opinion, Under the Dome, the first few chapters were fantastic.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of my comments with it. I did not like the rest of the beginning where the dome came down was nuts. So awesome. And then after that, I was like, I'm kind of I don't care about any of these people. Cujo was all right. And then I have what's my Stephen King book?
I just picked up this for him last week. Hardback for Salem's Lot. I've heard it's amazing. I've heard Misery's really good too.
I know what this book's about, but I've not read it. So I plan on reading it probably during October is what I'm probably leaning towards. So I'm going to go through and read this in October. So
I'm trying to hold off on this.
I've read
it's like a top 5 by what I've heard.
It's good.
Is it awesome?
It's good. Yeah. It's one of those that I sat down and read that a long time ago. When did I go through and read? Let's check the handy dandy spreadsheet. When did I read that book? And I still remember every moment of it. Like it was good, but I remember it being damn long. Damn long.
I've got the first 2 books of what is it called? The Dark Tower. I've got the first 2 books of it.
I didn't like the Dark Tower.
Really?
I don't like it. Now
I heard it. The first few books are pretty good, pretty to really good, and then the last 1 or 2 is it fell off.
Yeah, I didn't like the first one, so I was told don't finish it.
Oh wow. Okay.
I just didn't. It didn't hit for me. It wasn't my thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't for me. Some of his short stories are really good. I don't know if you want to read some of those. Drunken Fireworks is awesome. Awesome. The audio, so pretty much it's people shooting off a bunch of drunk people on a lake shooting off fireworks, and people are pissed off that people are shooting off fireworks, and it is awesome. It was so much fun.
That's going to sound real familiar in about a week from today or yesterday.
They're going to start it tonight because these people here in Georgia are a bunch of psychos. Like these people are like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm really, really wanting to start, and I'm too scared to do it, and I'm probably going to wait till next year, but Malazan.
So I DNF that book twice already.
Oh, geez.
But I blame myself because I tried to read it at the beginning when I first started reading.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you need to
be into books reading. I also DNF'd the first law twice also. And the third time I was like, this is my favorite book I've ever read. So it's like I usually blame myself when I DNF a book. I'm like, it's just me or my mindset. But yeah, I have a mass market paperback here because eventually I want to go through and try it. But I think the next big series I'm going to go through and read is Janie's books. Because I bought the main series. So
really?
yeah, I bought them. I found a sweet deal. So
no kidding, all of them.
All of them. Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6 books right here.
Okay, so she sent me Trader's Knot. It's like book. I thought she said it's like book 5, but on the paper it's like book 7. But she said it can be read as a standalone.
See, I don't have that, so maybe I'm.
And it says on here, Alliance a Lot, book 4. Right.
So you have a paper thing.
Yeah, it says
I don't have
4.
Okay, I don't know. I got the War of. I don't know, some website. They said these were the main books, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've got the here. I can tell you what the actual. Let me see. Well, what the heck did I do with the paper? Maybe over there. I don't know. I've got the paper though that folds out and has the whole series on it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here you go. So
I have
Curse of the Mistwraith is 1. Let me fold it in half.
See, I got the Curse of the Mistwraith.
Yeah, there we go. Curse of the Mistwraith.
Okay, and then the next one I have is Peril's Gate.
Next
one.
Peril's Gate. No, that is okay. Okay, here's what it is. The Arc 1 is Curse of the Mistwraith. Arc 2 is the Ships of Merior and Warhorse of Vastmart. And that is actually
I have so I have those.
Okay, you have the 2 books. Yeah. Okay.
I have those.
All right. That's Arc 2. And then Arc 3 is Fugitive Prince.
Yep, got that one.
Grand Conspiracy.
And then Peril's Gate.
Yep. Then Trader's Knot, which I have. Stormed Fortress. That's Arc 3.
Okay.
And then Arc 4 is Innotate's Trail, then Destiny Conflict, and then Arc 5, which is the last book in it, is Song of the Mysteries.
Okay.
But Trader's Knot, supposedly, she said it can be a standalone, but mine says it's book 4, which it would be book 4 in Arc 3.
Yeah.
So
I have Arc 1, 2, and half of 3 is what I guess what I have. Okay.
So she sent me that one and then sent me To Ride Hell's Chasm. So, and I've heard this is awesome and it's a standalone. So I'm probably going to read it first to see if I like her writing. So
yeah, I hear it's very, it's
she's got dense prose.
Yeah, I hear it's written very well. So I wanted to read at the same time as Ruocchio, but then I felt like I was going to be reading only those 2 books, and I wanted to read some indie books as well.
Yeah. Hey, I seen where you got or you won Soul Cage.
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Me and Chris were supposed to do the buddy read of it, and I told him, I was like, dude, you're moving and I just don't have time. I was like, I can't do it. Like if it's not an audio book, I'm out.
It looks awesome.
Oh, that cover's incredible. Yeah.
Sick.
And it's supposed to be a pretty good book too. So I hate it wasn't able to do it. I just don't have time to read a book that's got too many pages right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know, man. I've been lucky lately. Like I've gotten in the past month, 6 books I've won.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's just like, and I keep like, I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna swing for this fence too. And it's like, you won. And I'm like, oh, holy hell, let's keep it going. Let's keep the
Yeah.
ride going, buddy. So it's
Heck
like,
yeah.
I've gotten a bunch of them. I've gotten that one, and then I've gotten the Dirge of Cassius. That's a new
Oh yeah,
book
that's
that
Caleb Lott or something. Is that
Yep,
right?
Caleb Lott. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. So I
yeah,
got
that looks awesome. That is I seen he just started today or yesterday was his birthday, I think.
yes,
And then
yeah.
he's starting to sell them on the broken binding
Mhm.
now. And then supposedly that novella he just come out with, what is it? Arcanor or something. I forgot what I don't know how to say it. It's supposed to be awesome. It's like a fantasy western, sci-fi western, something like that.
See, a
Looks
lot of
pretty
people
cool.
are writing westerns now. I've noticed, like that's become
Yeah,
like
that's the hot
a
thing right now.
fantasy western kind of
Yeah.
thing. I've spoken with a few people, and what's her name? I know Terry. Why can I not remember the name? She's a booktuber, and she wrote a western book I heard was very good.
Are you talking about Tori?
Terry.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
heard.
Tori Tegan. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard her book is really good.
Supposedly all of her books are really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bloodstones, and then that one, which I think she did Phased, was like the first one. But Bloodstones is going to be like maybe her like epic fantasy type deal. It's got like a Motley Crue, like that's what she loves. Like she's a huge Motley Crue person. But yeah, that cold
silver for souls.
Cold silver for souls. Yeah, I've heard it's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bounty hunter, necromancer, outcast sounds awesome. So that's on my list. I need to read that one. I really want to read Discovery, but I'm going to push
Same
that.
way. It's so dang long too. That's a big book.
Well, and that's the thing. I wanted to read it, but I was like, I think it's going to be after this first 3 books of Ruocchio. I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to read some of these other thicker books, and then be like, all right, now I'm ready to jump back into Sun Eater. It's just I can't read too many thick books at one time. I don't have the time. But I'm currently reading, almost finished, with Zachary and Joshua Forbes' book, the Three Rivers Plague.
Okay, good.
Pretty good post-apocalyptic book.
Okay.
What I really like it follows a band. So so it's like they're a very popular band, and then that's who you're following with throughout the story. And it's like, okay, you're not following a normal like military cop person, you're following a band. And then what's cool about it is they set the book up in, I don't know if it's going to pop up on the screen. So you see a set list.
Yeah. Freebird.
Like Freebird.
The end of the world as we know it.
So you have each of these, they have it's like episode, like sections of the book. And it's like, if you just read just one episode, it falls in line with that song, which is cool. But then it's like it has its own story within those chapters. So it's like it feels like an episode of a show. And it's like, okay, well, that's your episode. And then you go to the next one. It's like, that's a new episode. So it's like, I feel like I've read a story in a story. So it's awesome. Very cool way that they're writing this.
Almost like a show on like Netflix or something, kind of like that. Like it's episodic, and that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
What they Three Rivers Plague?
3 Rivers Plague, yeah. And their third one just came out. I can't remember the name. I have Goodreads up. So I have the first 2.
Is that book 1 or book 2?
This is book 1. This is book 1.
Okay.
This is book 1. And then book 2 is Foot in the Grave. I have that one. So the Foot in the Grave's the second one. And then the third one is Tooth and Nail. And I think that's the last one in their series. So it's it's a big book. You know, it's I think 550. Yeah, it's 550 pages, but it doesn't feel 550 pages because I go through and I'm like, all right, I'm going to read an episode, which is usually like 4 chapters. And then I'm like, you feel like, oh, I finished it, and then I can put it down. Or you can binge it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Like, I might be interested in that because knock it out, and then if I want to read something like that, feels like a book that you can. I'm not big on trying to read multiple books at one time. Like, I can do an audiobook and I can do
Mhm.
a paperback or hardback, whatever, and that's fine. But I can't do like multiple books at a time. That sounds like a book I could because
Mhm.
I'll read a chapter, read an episode, and then go
Mhm.
grab another book and read on it. Like, I feel like that sounds really cool.
Yeah. And you
So,
feel
have
like
you interviewed them?
I've not. No, I'm going to. I'm going after I
Okay,
finish this because I have
okay.
so many questions about this book
Are they
where it's like
brothers?
they're
Is it
brothers. Yeah.
okay? Maybe it was Chris that interviewed them, or maybe I don't know. I know he's interviewed two brothers before. Um, I don't remember who it was. This was months ago.
Yeah. It was
That
probably these two guys.
may be.
But yeah, I got a lot of questions for them because like there's some characters in here that reminds me of video game characters. I can't remember off the top of my head. There's a video game, like a zombie type video game that came out.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Are you in my mind?
Left 4
Yeah,
Dead is the greatest zombie game there ever was,
it
in my
was Left
opinion.
4 Dead. It was
Okay.
100% Left 4 Dead. Yes, I love that book. I love that game. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
some of the zombies in that game, the
Uh-huh.
boomer
Oh,
is,
yeah.
or the tank. I'm looking at the
Okay.
characters. The tank
Yeah.
is in this book.
Oh, yes.
Not spoil anything, but that's like when they were
Yeah.
describing what this looked like. Holy shit, this is the Left 4 Dead tank, and like, but
Yeah.
bigger and more intense. So like that character's in this, like in this book.
Okay.
So it's so I got to find out if that was an inspiration or it just happened that way. But I used to play Left
Yeah.
4 Dead all the time.
Oh, same way here. I've played a bunch of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever they come out with that new game a few years ago, that was like a kind of like a remake of Left 4 Dead. It wasn't called Left 4 Dead. It was something, I can't remember what it's called now. Xbox come out with it though at the time, and it was almost like a clone. It was on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good, but it wasn't Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead.
Nothing compared to it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun games. So yeah, that's yeah, I'm gonna have to talk with them and see if they want to get on it once I finish this book, which I'll be done tomorrow at the very latest, and then see if they're interested so I can pester them. If not, I'm just gonna send 10,000 questions over X going, I need to understand this. Why did you do this? This makes no sense. So it's gonna be fun. That's usually what I go through and do is I have a bunch of notes written down and I send the authors an X message going, if you want to be on, great, but here's some questions I have. Like, what's going on here? Explain this to me. I just, it's fun. It's fun stuff. But all right, man. Well, it's been an hour and 40, and I just realized it's been a little while. So, is there anything else you want to go through and talk about Howling Dark before we close out?
I think we've done pretty good going through it. Loved it. As I said, 5 stars. Completely 180 from book one, in my opinion. You loved book one. You love this one too.
10. This is a 10. 100% been a 10, and I'm expecting the rest of the series just to be a big old 10. So yes.
Yeah, and supposedly after Howling Dark, after Demon and White, it gets like super dark. But what I understand, I think it was Ashes of Man and Kingdoms of Death was actually supposed to be one book, and they made him separate it. And those two are pretty dang big books alone. So I couldn't imagine how many pages that sucker would be. But yeah, it's supposed to be pretty dark. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. I wonder if that's where he blows up the sun. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's all I got. It's great.
Yep, I agree. It's 10 out of 10. Read the book. That's awesome. All right, Rowdy, I appreciate you coming on, man. And we need it. We'll talk soon on when we're going to set up the next one, and we'll go through and yap about Demon and White, and it'll be awesome. So, all right, I appreciate everyone jumping on. If you're watching on replay, thank you very much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and until I see you in the next one.
See ya.
And then the
Bye.